Hey everybody, it's Ellen here, and we are going to talk a little bit about your mindset because mindsets matter. I mean, as much as we would kind of like to say that it doesn't matter as much as we think it does, it sure as heck does, because mindset, a lot of times, that is your own self-talk, all right? And when you are not being super positive with yourself and it's coming from your own voice in your head, right? It has that much, like, it just really sticks. And so it's really important for us to master that. And that's what we're going to work on here today together. All right. So, do you believe that you can partner with your host to maximize their parties? Do you believe that? All right. Do you believe you have what it's possible? You believe it's possible. You believe it's even possible to have $1,000 party. You believe it's even possible to have a $2,000 party, an $800 party, whatever it is. Do you believe that's even possible? Do you believe that you can be successful in this business? All right. If the answer to all three of those questions was not yes, it's okay. We all start that way, right? And some of us kind of sometimes slide back that way. So it's really important to always keep your mindset in check. All right. It's so important to keep your mindset in check. And I have to do it still. In the beginning, it was something I worked on very diligently in my life and business to make sure that I had a positive impact on my family, on my business, on the people that I met through my business, whether they were on my team, my hostess, my customers. I always wanted to be that beacon of hope and of positivity. And so that's one of the biggest compliments anybody can ever give me, especially outside of Tupperware. When somebody says, "Oh, you're one of the most positive people I know," I'm like, yes, I'm doing it. I am doing it. Like, it just makes me so excited. All right. So here's the thing. People across the nation are having success in Tupperware. All right. People across the nation are doing 10 parties a month. People across the nation, some people's party average is $1,000. Like, they're like, oh, I rarely have a party less than $1,000, right? And you know what? They come from all different walks of life, and they live in all different areas with a variety of different demographics in those areas, and they are making it work. So why not you? Right? Why not you? That was something that was huge to me when, Pam kind of, when she would give a speech, and there's a story that she tells about somebody, and telling her, oh, well, people, only the top whatever percent are actually successful in a business like that. And she's just like, well, why can't I be that? Why can't I be in that top percent? And she just went for it, right? And that sometimes is the attitude that you kind of have to have. All right, so a quick question is, do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? I'm going to give you a very brief overview of it, but it's the basics, and it's something for you to build on. If you're interested in learning more, you can definitely Google fixed mindset or growth mindset. Actually, there's a book called Growth Mindset. It's amazing. It's by Carol Dweck. You can get the Audible, you get the book. I've got both, and my book is all like dog-eared and underlined, and it's stuff I work with my kids on. My kids' school started doing it about a year ago, and I was like, oh, I love this because this is what I do. I was so excited. It's a phenomenal book, and the Audible's just as good. So, but they also have videos on it too. They have short little recap videos. I just watched a 10-minute one the other day. I'm always, like I said, I know it by the back of my hand. However, I'm always kind of, it's nice to kind of just bathe in it, just kind of let it wash over you some days. All right, so really quick, a fixed mindset is that you believe that you are born with a certain skill set, like a natural ability. When people are like, oh, that person's naturally smart, that person's naturally good at basketball, that person is da-da-da, whatever it is, right? Fill in the blank. Or knowledge, right? You have a limited skill set or knowledge. And they truly kind of believe that at some point you're going to run out of that natural ability, and then the gig's up, right? And so they're just like, oh, I reached my top, I reached my cap. It's almost like that glass ceiling that they used to talk about all the time. It's kind of like that. It's kind of believing that at some point you're going to run out of that ability, and then that's as far as you're going to get in life, right? And so you hear the same when people are like, oh, that person, they were just born under a lucky star. That's somebody with a fixed mindset, because they're saying they're capable of doing that because they were born that way, not because they put in the work. And so, so it's really important. Just start thinking about those and picking up on them as in conversations. It's very interesting to hear it in conversation, because then once you're aware of it, you just see it everywhere. All right, so a growth mindset, a quick overview of a growth mindset. They believe that your skills can be developed and mastered, that there's truly nothing out there that when you put your mind to it, you can't master or develop that skill. Now, am I saying that you'll be the number one something something? Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe along the way you realize that you are, you've managed to, master this skill, and it's amazing, but you also discovered something interesting about yourself that you like this better. And so you go a different direction with it. But the main point is that you can learn. You can always learn more. If you're into science, but for whatever reason, your mind doesn't really work that way, you can actually develop that skill so that you do have that scientific mind or that math mind, right? Because a lot of times people just, especially those two subjects, they just kind of associate it with like, you just kind of have to be born that way, and that's the way your mind works. And it is, some people, yeah, that is kind of the way their mind works. But you know what? If they don't practice and hone that skill too, then their mind won't really be doing those things eventually. So, so I love that idea. I love that you're capable of learning and mastering any skill. And so the saying, if it is to be, it's up to me, is definitely a growth mindset. That is like, you know what? Sheer determination. Like, okay, well, that's not working. I'm going to change it. I'm going to flip the script, and I'm going to go a different direction to get to the same place, because you know what? I can do that. And that's what this business is. This business is always about learning and growing and realizing what works for you, and just kind of works with you, your personality, and also you can change that too. That's great too. You can kind of learn different new social skills as well. So, so I'm going to give you a couple quick tips. All right. So number one is change your self-talk. That is huge. There's a great book, and I think it's called, oh goodness, I can't remember, something with gremlins. Taming Your Gremlin, I think is the name of it. And it's about that inner conversation, that inner talk, and about just kind of silencing it, and or also changing it for the good. And so this is something I have to work on all the time, because when I get anxious and I get stressed out, I have a tendency to, it's like, oh, well, there's not enough money for this, or there's not enough this, or I start to think in that limiting belief, right? And then I have to stop and remind myself that anything is possible, anything. I'm not in control of this, quite honestly. God's in control of this, and he's capable of so many things. And so when I think about that, it just helps me open my mind and remember, this is a gift. This is pure gift. And what I'm going to do with it is up to me, if I want to hone those skills and believe in myself and spread that positivity and kindness as much as I possibly can. All right, so change that self-talk. If you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough to achieve my dreams, your thoughts will create your reality, and your mindset will hold you back from having the life that you want. Wow. Wow, who knew that inner dialogue that you're having all the time had so much power? Pretty powerful stuff. All right, number two, change your language. After changing your inner thought dialogue and the story you're telling yourself, change the way you talk to other people. All right, avoid phrases like, I'm always like this. Right? When, say maybe you're always kind of frazzled. And you're like, oh, I'm always like this. No, you don't have to be always like that. You're choosing to be like that, right? You can master the skill of time management or stress management, whatever it is that's causing this, right? And so, or somebody that's like, oh, I'm so clumsy. I'm always clumsy. I'm always falling down. You're bringing that on by saying, I'm always this, I'm always that, right? My husband told me one time, he's like, if you're speaking in absolutes, you're not speaking the truth. And so, because I had a tendency, I would be that person, I'm like, you always do this and I don't like it, right? And he's just like, well, that's not true, because I can't always do that. And so immediately he kind of would take me down a notch, right? But he's right. If you're speaking in absolutes, you're exaggerating to a certain extent, all right? And so, So you want to make it a habit to talk about things that are going well for you in your life instead of complaining and talking about your problems. And we all have that friend in our life that's what they do. It doesn't matter what you say. They're just like, yeah, but, and they go to the negative, and they can say, they're like, oh, I'm just going to play devil's advocate. And that's fine. Devil's advocate is a really good thing. Sometimes it's like when you're brainstorming, to have somebody that is able to kind of like say, okay, let's look at it from this perspective, right? But sometimes I think people saying they're playing devil's advocate is actually just them just kind of raining on our parade, right? Sometimes it's productive because they're like, let's come up with a solution because I see a future problem. And sometimes it is just raining on our parade. All right. I know many people that it's so productive when they do that. And I'm grateful for those people in my life, because I do have a tendency to get all wrapped up in the excitement. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this and it's going to be amazing. And all the people are going to do this. And then blah, 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 blah. And they're like, quick question. They bring me back down and we solve the problem, right? All right, so number 3 is determine the mindset you need and act as if, right? Act as if you already have that, right? Which mindset do I need to achieve this goal? Which mindset do people have that were successful at this goal? Right? And that's where I got to be honest with you, Google's my best friends. Like when I'm struggling with my mindset, I do Google searches, watch YouTube videos, read articles, and things like that to really kind of bring it back around. And sometimes music does it for me too. It helps kind of just get me do that little switch in my head so that I can keep going. For example, healthy and fit people might share the mindset, I love taking care of my body, nourishing it with whole foods and exercise every day. If your goal is to be healthy and fit, act as if you already have the mindset of a healthy and fit person. So let's take it to our business, right? So if your goal is to have, okay, this is something that is in my life. So when I started in the business, I used to tell people I was a leader of leaders. And I said it for years. I said it before I even had anybody to lead. I said it before anybody was even following me. Okay, so I would say, I am a leader of leaders. And I would just say, oh, well, I'm a leader of leaders. I'm a leader. And I used to tell myself that you are a leader of leaders. You're going to do this because you are a leader of leaders. And I would act as if I was already a leader of leaders. And so I would lead myself as if I was me leading one of my people. And so I would, and that's what I said. And so for years, finally one day I kind of, it was almost like awakening, and I was like, oh, hey, I'm a leader of leaders. This is so exciting. This is everything I always wanted to be. But it was like I woke up one day and realized it because I had been acting as if for so long that I hadn't realized that I was actually stepping into that role. And so that's a really important key to be able to have that mindset, right? So let's take it to parties, right? So maybe your party is, your sort of mindset around your parties is, I party 8 to 10 times a month. That's what I do, right? I know somebody and she's like, I have $1,000 parties. And that's what she's just like, I have thousand. That's what she tells her host when she's host coaching. She's just like, well, I have $1,000 parties, and this is how my most successful hosts get there. And that's how she starts the conversation. And she's like, so get excited because my hosts that follow these steps and we get to the $1,000, they have a shopping spree of blah blah blah. Right. And so she's like, get excited. We're going to do this. We're going to partner together and we're going to do this because I'm good at it. Right. And so that's her acting as if. She has not had that. I mean, she might have an average party of $1,000, but she's acting as if this host in particular, her party is definitely going to be $1,000 party. Right. And so that's what she does. And so that is a mindset. That's a mindset. All right. So number 4 is learn and apply. Read books from great minds to understand how to adapt your thinking, right? Read books about how the mind works and how the brain works. And, if this is something that you need to work on, this is a life skill. Like, I love that this is a Tupperware thing, but it's honestly a life skill. This is one of the things that bleeds over into our everyday life like no other. I mean, it's changed the way I parent, being positive, understanding growth mindset changed the way I parent, the way I talk to my kids, the way I encourage them. Just today, I had a conversation with my teenager, and it's a conversation that would have been very different had I not had this knowledge and I was able to kind of partner with him and lift him up, you know, and make sure he knew he wasn't alone and that we're there for him, you know. And it would be very different if I didn't have this skill. So it's very important to learn and apply. Like I said, the mindset book by Carol Dweck. There's a couple other ones. Gabrielle Bernstein is great about mindset and abundance. All right, that's another great mindset thing to step into and act as if when it comes to abundance. Your abundance of parties, your abundance of sales, your abundance of recruits, your abundance of happiness, your abundance of, you know, time. You know, there's so many amazing things in life and business that you want to celebrate being in abundance of, and by celebrating it as if, you bring it about, right? And it's crazy the way it happens. It's almost spooky. All right. But the big thing is learn and apply. When you take the time, even just listening to this video, right? You're going to take your notes, pick something you can take action on in the next 24 hours. Anything. I don't care what it is. Maybe it's writing it out an affirmation. Maybe it's doing gratitude journal, whatever it is. Take action on something in the next 24 hours so that you can really like solidify the training. All right. So number 5 is surround yourself with people that match your desired mindsets. Okay, if you were able to attend our rallies, that's the perfect place to surround yourself with people with your mindset. Yes. All right, if you can attend the rally, if you can watch the rallies online and make those connections through the chat, that's pretty awesome too. All right, now also whenever we have like trainings, like Zoom trainings, things like that. Zoom trainings are great because we're kind of in a virtual room together. So when those type of trainings are available, try to be on them live so that you can experience that virtual room and feel that connection. There are so many ways, whether you're near or far, to be able to surround yourself with the positive people that I personally have surrounded myself with in Tupperware. All right. And if you're looking for those, just reach out and I can definitely help you and push you in the right direction with that. So you want to do that. If you want to upgrade your money and success mindset, start hanging out with people that are very successful and seem to have an abundance of money flowing their way at any time. All right. And number 6 is create new habits to support your mindset change. All right. So you want to integrate powerful habits into your day that help your mindset change and reinforce your thinking with action. If you're upgrading from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, schedule time for your learning and start noting down your learning and achievements every single day. All right. The little things make the big things happen. So it's important to celebrate those little things. Even if you did something super scary today, right? And even if the outcome wasn't what you were hoping it was, you know, let go of the outcome and really enjoy the process and congratulate yourself for doing something scary. All right. So, and last is jump out of your comfort zone. And however you want to look at this, all right, some of you love the idea of jumping out of your comfort zone. I always like the idea of stretching my comfort zone because jumping out like kind of implies I'm going to jump back in. And once I'm out, I want to keep going, but I want to stretch it. So I want to increase my comfort zone. I'm sure you've heard the thing with the rubber band, right? So a rubber band, if you take a rubber band, you put it on a piece of paper and then you draw a circle around it, right? And you trace the rubber band and then you stretch it, stretch it, stretch it. When you put it back down, it's not the same size. And that's exactly what your comfort zone is like. I have a friend in Tupperware and she talks about living on the edge of her comfort zone. And I love that. Now she like skydives and jumps out of like planes and stuff. And that's great. That's a little too on the edge for me. But I love the idea of that. I love those word choices, living on the edge of my comfort zone. That makes me feel like it's kind of like sitting on the edge of your seat, right? And if you've ever seen me sitting in a meeting, I have a tendency to sit on the edge of my seat. I sit on the edge of my seat and sometimes I tip it forward, which is a really bad habit because my chair's fallen out from underneath me at least more than once. However, it's a very humbling experience. So, but you know, I love it. It just implies this excitement and sort of like, you know, when you're excited about something and you're in a meeting, you lean forward, you kind of lean in, you're like, yeah, I'm digging this, right? You're totally alert and aware and excited. So that's what it kind of reminds me of. So if mindset is something that you feel like you need to work on, do the work. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. And if you're struggling with that, reach out. Reach out to your upline director, because we can help you, because we have all been there. I don't care how positive we look. And even Pam Clift has been there in the past. And who knows, maybe she revisits it from time to time like I do, that sometimes you get a little scared and your confidence gets a little wavered, and you got to go back and you got to do the work again. But the good thing is when you start living this life and you start thinking this way, you start talking this way, your language changes, your body language changes, your friendships evolve, and sometimes, unfortunately, they shift, and you realize that this person and you don't have as many things and as similar as what you once had. And that's okay, because they're with every season, right? And I have had friends for seasons and friends for reasons and all of that. And a lot of times my friendships kind of go like this, right? And so we come back together, and then we kind of, life gets, goes different directions, babies and marriages and moving and jobs and things like that. And so then, but eventually we kind of get back together. But the big thing is you want to be the powerful, positive force in the people who you interact with lives. You do, but it starts with you. All right. So if you have what Pam calls stinking thinking around your date book, around your party average, around this business, now is the time. You have a choice to change that and just really make a difference for 2020 in your life and the life of everybody that you come in contact with, whether it be people in your unit, new customers, your family, your friendships, your job, maybe a job outside of Tupperware, or maybe Tupperware, right? So it is worth it. It's worth every second of it. Let me see here if I had anything else that I was going to mention. I don't think so. So the big thing is every day is a choice. You can choose happiness, you can choose growth, you can choose success, and you can choose to believe, because what you think, you truly do become. All right, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again soon. I'm sure you'll see a video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.